Folks, well, my biggest worry, and I promise you're right, no more elections after this. My biggest worry was that people weren't going to come out and vote. But thankfully, I think and you see, it's hard to know, right? Because you've got what you see online versus people on the streets. Not everyone's online as much as you think. Like, so there's a massive, massive group of people across Europe that are online all day, every day. But there's a massive group of people who aren't as well. So it can be very, very hard when you look online, and you've got to take a sample of both to try and get an idea. So my worry was that people weren't going to come out and vote. Well, it looks like they did. It definitely looks like they did. It's almost like people preordained reform to win, though, isn't it? I mean, their name hadn't barely been spoken, and then this election comes along, and out of the woodwork, it was very strange. But I'm sure there's nothing. Nothing to be worried about. Anyway, Labour's been smashed about as expected. That regardless of which party was going to do it, it was reform in the end. But regardless of which party was going to do it, we knew they were going to get smashed. So the obvious has happened. So now we see in the next few weeks whether they let Starmer take the rest of the bullets and come in, and then toss him to one side, because that's what you would expect now. Everything then to catch up with them, and for them to say, well, we've got more than enough reason to get rid of you now. Plus, a new leader doesn't have to take on these elections. That's what you would think would happen, but who knows? In my area, just to give you an idea of how, so a lot of places have said that we want reform now, and they're sort of cheering about, and that's good. In my area, it's caused a deadlock. So all it did in my area was split the vote completely. So reform gained a load of seats. Conservative lost a load of seats, so that's what people wanted. Unfortunately, the result was no clear majority for anybody, which means we either get a coalition hung, or it actually can stay in a state of gridlock. Gridlock actually would be the preferable one, seriously, for the time being, because it would slow down any other ideas of taking over the councils in this area. So gridlock is actually what I'm hoping for, but you can't vote for gridlock, can you? But yeah, it's caused gridlock in at the moment in my area. There's no clear majority, so they're going to have to work it out. So it's either going to be coalition or something else. I imagine it could be coalition, Reform, and Conservative, because Conservatives do have the most amount of votes still. They just haven't got majority, and yeah, so it was as I suspected, just not as strong a majority as I expected. Not enough to win. So I imagine it's going to be Reform, Conservative, coalition, because I think they would work together because they're the same party. So I think that's probably going to happen in my area, but we'll see. We'll see. Other areas, I don't know how Rupert Lowe's doing. Do anyone know? I haven't seen. All I've seen is a couple of MSN posts saying, "Oh, Rupert Lowe's running for his racist party," and another one saying, "Yeah, Nazi Rupert Lowe is out." Honestly, they're stuck going down that road again. Far right party Rupert Lowe. And wonderful Mr. Farage all of a sudden. I thought he was far right before. They can't make up the fucking minds. So the main thing is Labour panicking, which is what anybody could have predicted, and everybody's dog did predict from pretty much the moment he got in power that local elections would, well, not the moment he got in power, but not long afterwards, when he betrayed everybody, that local elections were paying back, which is why he kept delaying them. So we're at that point now. We've got there. He's had like 21 scandals now, or whatever it is, and counting. So to me, he's just the horse that's being propped up. He's got to go, right? But people are saying they're going to push for a general election. Well, I think we can see which way the wind's blowing now. I think we know why people want a general election. I think the cat's out of the bag. Look at the results that Reform had. There's a reason why people suddenly jump out of their boat and start pushing for a party, because they get inside information. And I would say there's a lot of people that had a good idea what those results were going to be before the day, which is why people have jumped ship, stuff like that. They've got the info. The insiders get the info. So I think we can see which way we're going to be pushing come UTK, come after. I think we can see which way we're pushing. We're pushing centre. We're pushing centre politics. So all I'll say is, at this point, I mean, I've got to let go, and say good luck to you. Good luck to you with that centre politics. But for me, if Rupert Lowe or some right-wing party doesn't appear, for the general election. I'm out of the democracy circle. I can't, I could have voted Reform for, say, a local election or whatever else, but for a general election, nah, nah. I might as well. Do you know what? I would rather see the country burn and go completely leftist, um, because maybe my friend was right, and that is maybe this place needs to burn before people understand the lava that they're standing on. I really don't know. I'm not talking about this local election, by the way. That, like, these people with voting Reform, I've got no problem with. What else? What other choices did they have? I'm talking about in a general election. I just feel like we're all being, again, goat herded to the centre. I won't be part of that. So I really do hope Mr. Lowe has some luck and can do something, because I won't be voting for any of the rest of them come general election time, because the Reform, I just, I don't see them fixing any problems, and not unless they did something like got in under false pretenses and then went against everything, but that wouldn't work out too well for them either. So you've got to go in with the policies you really mean. That's the problem. Otherwise, they'll never get done. So I pray we don't get a general election. I pray we don't get a general election so that there is time for a right-wing party to establish itself before we do. I fear that won't happen, but it's really important. And people will celebrate. Good for them. I hope you're happy, because at least it's not the Greens. I understand why you'd be happy. So cool stuff. But I just hope we don't have a general election anytime soon. Believe it or not, that sounds crazy, right? But I just think, who would we vote for? Reform again? Keep me out of that one. But I'm happy for all the people that have managed to keep the Greens out of the seats there. And like, even in my area, even though it's like sort of hung, the Greens are nowhere to be seen. So good job for that. Yeah. Now on to some other stuff that doesn't involve some fucking elections. I know you're sick of it, which is why I'm keeping this brief today and why I'm moving on. I think we've all had enough for the time being, but we'll come back to it all when we've had a breather. All right. Take care. Tom Fury's here, news current day for now.